Hello friends, I am Sanket. Our today's topic is string, array and dictionary in Swift language. So now how to use string, how to use array and how to use dictionary using Swift language. So now let's try to see in practical basis. So create one new extra projects. Now here we are working on as a command line tools. It means basic Swift programming. So now at that time you can use this category and just click on next. Now your product name, it means your application name. So now here my product name is string, array and dictionary. Okay, now make sure your language selected as a Swift, then after click on next and your work location as a desktop, then create. Okay, so now you all are heard about the string and array. I think dictionary words it's for you. Okay, so now let's start these simple methods with a string, array and dictionary. Okay, now before we starting, first you have to send a sample data of string, array and dictionary. So now let's try to using first as a string. Okay, so now what is string and how to use it? So now string, it's a simple, it's a collection of pieces of character. Okay, so now using string in your Swift language, so now simple, first you have to declare a variable. For example, here my variable name is str, and now string is always mentioned with double quotes. So now for example, this is string in Swift. Okay, so now here my default string value of str is, this is string in Swift. So now this is string in Swift. Okay, now you have to use a different types of method of your string variable. So now how to use it? For example, you have to add, update, remove any character from your string. You have to set any index value of your string at that time. You can use different types of method. For example, how to use it? So now your string variable, for example str dot. Okay, now you can see the list of methods are available of your string. For example, here my first method is append. So now append, it means you have to set any string or character at the end of your existing string. So now here append as a argument only character. So now here for example my character is as has. Okay, now let's see your whole string. So now here just print your string using print statement. Now let's check the output. So now first see your existing string is this is string in Swift, then after you have to add one character, it means your has. Okay, using append method. So now see the output. Okay, what's the use of the this method means as a append. So now see this is the your existing string, and now you have to add has on runtime using append method. Now let's see another method of string. So now str dot append string. So now here what's the difference between this method and this method? So now first method is appending only single character, but you have to appending more than one character, it means string. So now at that time you can use this keyword. For example, in Swift language. Okay, so now here I have to appending one string as a language. Now let's try to see the output of this string. So you can see my existing string is, this is a string in Swift, but you can see the language. So now this string is appended by this method. So now here your first append method is simply append a single character, and the second append method is simply appending a whole string. It means collection of character. Now let's try to see another method of string. So for example, your string objects, it means string variable str dot remove. Okay, so now you have to remove any character in your existing string. At that time you can use different types of this method. For example, I have to use this method. For example, remove all. It means your whole string has been removed. So now here let's see the output. So you can see, okay, your strings is removed using this method. Okay, now I'm just committing this method and using different method of removing. So for example, str dot remove first. Okay, now what is the use of this method? So now remove first, it means simply your string first character. It means your string is started using this keyword. So now here you can see your t, you means your string first character has been removed using this method. Now you can also use str dot remove last. So now same as your last character has been removed using this method, means remove last. So now you can see the e of language. Okay, this character is remove using remove last method. Now you can use another method. For example, here insert. Okay, so now here what's the difference between append method and insert method? So now simply append, it means you have to append any single character or string at last position, but using insert method you have to insert any character at your specific position. It means write down here your index of your string. For example, here I have to add one character is at the rate. Now I have to mention the index of 0, but here you can see, okay, I have to mention at 0 position, but here you can see error, they cannot convert value of type integer to expected argument, because you have to use a index of string using this method, means str dot index. Okay, so now here first where to start your string position. So now here first argument, it means str dot start index, it means 0 index. And now the second argument is offset by, it means your index position. Okay, it means where to set your keyword, it means at the rate using insert method. So now here you have to mention any index value. For example, I have to mention 5. So now 5, it means, so now your string is started with this, so now your index value started with always 0. So now in 0 position you can see your t, 1 position h, second position I, third position s, fourth position as a blank, means white space, and then after your fifth position what is, so now it's at the rate. Now let's see the output and then check the insert method in string. So now you can see, okay, so now first this, it means it's started 0 to 3, means 0 1 2 3. On the fourth position as I mentioned, white space. And now your fifth position, you have to insert a at the rate key. Okay, so now you have to insert any single character or any single means different types of character, means pieces of character. At that time you can use this keyword. Okay, for example, you have to use uh, another method of insert. So now insert as a new element, but it's supported only character, but you have to insert more than one character, it means string. So now at that time you can use this method, it means contents of. So now here content of, it means, for example, here my string is hello, and now your location of index, it means where to set this string in your existing string. So now simple, you can use a string index using str dot index method. Now you have to write down your position. So now here my starting index position, and now offset by, it means your index value. So now here, for example, I have to mention a 0 index, it means your hello string is inserted on before this. Okay, now let's try to see the output of this method. So now you can see, yeah, okay, now you can see your 0 position. Okay, you have to mention a hello string. So now your existing string is, this is string, means your existing string is started this, but you have to mention a hello string on runtime using specific index position. Okay, so now this is the string in your Swift language. Okay, now you have to use different types of methods using a string method. Now let's try to use array in Swift language. Okay, so now here first of the, what is array and how to use it. So now same definition of arrays. So array, it's a collection of elements with same data type. So now how to declare array in Swift? So simply just using your variable. So now I am declaring one variable, the name is array. So now how to use array in Swift? So now using this bracket. Okay, now this is the symbol of array in Swift, but you can see the error, empty collection, it means right now your array is blank. Okay, so now how to declare the element in your array? So simply, for example, here I have to declare variable, sorry, element like this, for example 1 2 and 3. So now you can see there are 3 different types of elements in your array. Now how to use it, means how to print your array? So using print statement. Now let's try to see your output of array. So here you have to declare array using 3 different elements. So now this is your array elements. So now you can use array using these square brackets. Okay, now let's try to use different types of methods of array. Now in Swift programming, string, array and dictionary, okay, these are the main pillar. Okay, so now at that time you can use different types of method of array. So now how to use it? So simple, using your array objects, it means array dot, so you can see the list of methods are available of array. For example, I am using this method, it means append. So now append, it means you have to add any element at last position, for example here my next element is 4. Now your existing array elements are 1, 2 and 3, but then after you have to add another element as a 4. So now let's check this array output. So now here you can see there are 4 different types of elements are there in your array. Okay, so now this is use of append, but for example you have to use this method. Okay, so now here what's the difference between append new element and append contents of. Okay, so now new element means this method is used to append only single element at a time, but you have to add more than one element at a time. So now you can use this method, it means append contents of. So now how to append a more than one element? For example my element is for example 5, 6. So now you can see here there are more than one elements you have to appending. Now let's try to check the output of this method. So you can see your existing elements are 1, 2 and 3. Then after you can use append method and you have to add a 4 on runtime. Then after you can see we have to use a second append method, means append contents of. So now this method is used to appending a more than one element in your array index. Okay, so now this is the use of append and append contents of. Now let's try to see another method of array. So now for example here I am using array of dot insert. So now here same difference, append and insert. So now append method is used to add your element always its last position, but you have to use a insert method. So now what is the use of insert? So now insert is used to inserting your any element at your specific position. So now here for example my next element is for example 7, and now you have to mention your index, it means at as a position. So now you have to write down any integer value. For example I have to mention 3. So now your array is started with 0 always. So now this is your 0 position, this is your 1 position, this is your second position, and now here you have to mention third position of element is 7. So now let's try to check your array output. So now here you can see the use of insert. Okay, so now on your third position you have to mention a 7. Okay, now for example here I have to mention iOS. Okay, so now you can see the use of insert. So now this is a iOS, you have to mention the position of third using insert method. Now you have to insert a more than one variable, means more than one elements in your array. So now here we have a method of insert using content of. So now you have to insert, means you have to mention more than one element at a specific position. So now here for example here my element is Android, Java and PHP. So now here you have to mention your position. For example I have to mention position of 0. So now actually your existing array it started with 0. So now my existing array is 1, 2, 3, but you have to mention a 0 index. Okay, the new array elements means Android, Java and PHP. So now let's see the output of this method. So you can see your new index, it means as the 0, 1 and 2. So now you have to mention different elements in your array. So now Android, Java and PHP. Okay, now you can use any index. For example, I have to mention a 5th position. So now let's see the output in your index of 5. Okay, you have to mention your new array element, means Android, Java and PHP. So now this is your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now 5, 6 and 7. So now this is the use of insert method. Now let's try to see another method of array. So simple array dot. Okay, so now you have to use any elements, means you have to remove any elements in your array. Okay, so now you can use this different types of method. For example, I have to use remove all. Okay, so now it means your whole array elements are removed. Okay, so now you can see the output, your array is blank now. Okay, so now this is the use of remove all. Now let's try to another method of remove. So for example, remove first, it means your 0 index of elements are removed. Okay, so now using this method remove first, so now you can see the 0 index of 1. So now you can see 1 has been removed. Okay, now you can see the another method. For example, remove last, it means your last index of array element has been removed. It means I think 6, I think, yeah, correct. Okay, so now you can see your 6th element has been removed. Okay, using this method. Okay, so now this is the remove method. Now you have to remove more than one element at a time. Okay, so now you can use you can use this method. Okay, now here what's the difference between remove first and remove first with argument? So now this method is removed only single element at a time. Now this method is remove more than one element at a time. For example, you have to mention this method remove first, and I am mentioning here as a 3. It means the first 3 element. Okay, so now let's see the output. Your first 3 element, it means 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so now you can see your first 3 element has been removed using this method. Similar methods are there. For example, array dot remove last. Okay, same. So now remove last is removing any single element at a time, but you have to remove more than one element at a time. So now you can use this method. For example, here I am mentioning again 3. So now your last 3 element has been removed. So now let's try to check and see the output. So now your last 3 element, it means I think 6, 5 and PHP. So now you can see your last 3 element has been removed. Now if you have to remove a specific elements, now this is the very important method of array. So now you have to use remove this method. Okay, it means using this method array dot remove at, means you have to mention any index. Okay, for example, I am mentioning a 2. It means your second element in your array has been removed. Okay, so now this method is used to remove specific element in your array. Okay, so now you can use as a 3 means it's started with 0, so now 0 1 and 2. So now in your second index you have to mention as the 3. So now you can see the your second means third element has been removed in your array. Okay, now another method, it's very important in your array. So now you have to counting of element in your array. So now at that time you can use this method, means your array dot count. Okay, but now this method is used to with any single expression. So now here I am using one variable like as counter. So now in counter I am storing your array count. So now here cn equals to array dot count, and here I am using print statement. So now total array elements are, for example, my answer is stored in a counter, so it means cn. So now you can use the output of this method, it means cn. Okay, so now here your total array elements are 10. Okay, so now you can use this method of counting your array elements. Getting? So now this is the array. Okay, we are using different types of methods in your array. So now you can use any method as per your requirement. Okay, so now this is array. Now let's try to work with dictionary. Okay, so now first, what is dictionary and what is the use of dictionary in your Swift programming? So now simple definition of dictionary is, so now dictionary it's a collection of different types of array with particulars, keys and pair value. Okay, now again the second simple definition of dictionary is it's a collection of key and pair value. So now how to use it, how to declare a dictionary? So now for example I am declaring one variable dict. Okay, so now how to use it? So now see, this is the blank symbol of dictionary. Okay, so now you can see in your square bracket I am mentioning in between colon. So now in dictionary the before colon always your key, and then after colon you have to mention your value. Okay, so now for example I am declaring one sample data using dictionary. For example here my key is id and the value of id is 1. So now this is my first pair. Okay, now you have to declare another pair. For example here my second key is name and the value of name is, for example, Sanket. So now you can see there are two different pair are there in your dictionary, but you can see the error of dictionary. So now you can see it's a heterogeneous collection. It's a literal could not be inferred to string and any. The reason is your key, it means id and name both are string, but according to your key the both value are different, means your first value is integer and second value is string. So now it's a heterogeneous collection. So now how to fix it? So just simply click on and fix. So now you can see here your first type. So now this is string. So now this string type is for your key, and any it means you have to mention any different types of value. Okay, using any keyword. So now any is used to for your value. So now your first value is integer and your second value is string. So now at that time you can use as a type string and any. Now you have to mention directly, means using type. So now you have to mention using type annotation. So for example, I am mentioning a fixed type. It means here your dictionary is string and any type. Now at that time you can use your dictionary pair. For example, my first pair is id and the value of 1. Now my second pair is name and the value of name is Sanket. So now it's possible, okay, because you have to mentioning a type before declaring. Okay, so now you have to also use these types of method, means in dictionary. Okay, so now this is a dictionary. Now how to use a different types of method. Okay, now before we are using method, let's print your dictionary. So now using print statement, now just print your dictionary objects. Now let's try to check and see the output. So you can see your dictionary output like this. Okay, so now this is your first pair and this is your second pair. Now how to use different types of methods of dictionary. Now let's try to implement add any pair on runtime. So now how to add a single pair in your dictionary. So now using this method, so now your dictionary objects and then after your key. So now in dictionary you have to remember, in your dictionary always you have to mention first key. It means the id, name, this is your key. So now here I am inserting a new pair, okay, using a new value. So here my new pair for subject, like that. Okay, so now this is my new key. Now according to key, this is my value. So now this is key and this is value. Now let's try to see the output. So now your existing dictionary pair are two, id and name, but you have to mention a third pair on runtime. So now you can see, okay, your existing dictionary is id and name, but you have to mention a third pair. So now there are total 3 pair in your dictionary, okay, using this method. Now how to remove any pair in your dictionary. So now we have a method of remove dictionary. So now you can use this method also. For example, you have to use dictionary dot remove all. It means your whole dictionary data has been removed. Okay, so now you can see the output. Okay, now you can see your whole, means your all pair has been removed. Now you have to remove a specific pair in your dictionary. So now you can use remove value for key. So now here in this method you have to mention only key. Okay, for example, I have to remove name. Okay, so now here I am mentioning a name key. So now you can see the output, your name pair, okay, has been removed in your dictionary. Okay, so now you can see there are only 2 pair, subjects and id. So now you can use this method also. Now I am updating a key of your dictionary. Okay, for example, I am update any key of your value. For example, you have to update a value of subject. Okay, so now here, for example, my value is Android. But what is the key of Android? So here the key of Android is subject. So now your old subject value is iOS, but I am updating value of subject iOS to Android. Okay, now using this method you have to update any value of your key. So now let's try to check. Okay, so now see, your subject value is Android. Now your old subject value is iOS, and now your updated value is Android. Okay, so now this is a dictionary. Now again remember saying your string, array and dictionary. Okay, these are the main pillar of your Swift programming. So now do practice more on string, array and dictionary using different types of methods. Okay, so now this is our today's topic, string, array and dictionary. Thank you.